Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. My 83 wonderful subscribers. I love each and every one of you. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. I know it's janky. I know it's not flashy. I don't have amazing graphics. I know my technology sucks, but I have great comics, and so I appreciate you being here for that. I like to think I have a good fair amount of knowledge and content that is worth your time. Now, you can see the Strange Tales 77 graded a 5.0. This is a part of a bunch of books that I wanted to share and show with you guys that are new acquisitions. However, the situation got derailed because I was checking my eBay and noticed, oh, hey, you've got some books that were delivered yesterday to your mailbox. That's always a concern because if people package stuff properly, it's not going to fit in my mailbox. So we're going to start off this episode of This Is Not How You Send Comic Books. Shame on you, seller, for not knowing better. So I go out to my mailbox. Yeah, this is shocking. This, just like this, is in my mailbox. Obviously, it was like this. It was folded in half, just like this. I was like, oh, did my wife order like a t-shirt or something? Oh no, Dan the Kraken Man. Inside of here are your comics. Now, how was the mailman able to so easily just go, oh, yep, this is going to fit. We're just going to shove this right in the mailbox. This is exactly how the two comics came. In a Ziploc bag. I haven't even opened it. In a Ziploc bag. Two comic books, and you'll notice by the 15-cent price tag, these are older comic books. They're made out of paper. I can already just see holding it. It's like, it's U-shaped. I'm not making it U-shaped. I'm holding this flat, but it's U-shaped. Because I wasn't expecting any comic books yesterday, it sat in my mailbox, folded up in this for a day. This is me because, like I said, I wasn't even like opening it carefully because I was like, I wasn't even thinking there was comic books in here. It felt like a t-shirt or something because there is no backing boards. I can see just in the Ziploc freezer bag a crease running down through here. Neither one of these books bagged or boarded. Freezer bag in a bubble wrap envelope, and off you go to Dan the Kraken Man. Now that I've documented that for the seller, I will say it seems like bullet dodged. There's a crease on the cover, but it's going this way. So I can't blame their absolutely shitty packaging on that. It is a very dark cover. Where it was folded, I don't see a color breaking crease. On the back, I don't see a color breaking crease. The other book, also 15-cent cover price, I don't see any color breaking crease across the middle where it was folded in half. I don't see any color breaking crease across the middle on the back. Now, obviously, that was luck and not design, because putting 2 comic books in a freezer bag in this, I already discarded this in disgust. In this, I mean, why is the mailman gonna, like, I mean, there's no, like, don't crush, don't bend, don't, I mean, he was just like, cool, you're going in the mailbox, buddy. I spent $10 on shipping. I'm trying to see if there's any, like, I'm sure I could get a price on this, you know. Now, I will say, I bought both those comic books. It was like $22 plus $10 shipping. So the shipping was a third of the cost that I paid for those comic books. It's pure luck that they did not get completely destroyed. I'm not going to call the girl out personally because I've got her name, but I will say her eBay thing. Oh, let me see if I can find it. There it is. JTuck80. She sold some stuff. I mean, it's not like, hundreds and hundreds or thousands of things, but she sold stuff. And I will say, in the 12 months of feedback, there was 28 positives. There was 1 negative. Now, I'd have to go and look to see what other stuff she's selling. Because, hey, JTuck, if you're selling a box of nails, yeah, you can ship them that way. If you're selling a hammer, yeah, you can ship it that way. A comic book, I mean, thank whatever that it was not a key issue. I like monsters. I dig this kind of stuff. I really love these covers. I'm glad they weren't destroyed, because as I discuss multiple times in my videos about like preserving books or why get books graded, it's like, dude, these things are old. And there's not many that continue to remain in high grade year after year. And this is a perfect example, because it was pure luck that there was not just this huge, monstrous, color-breaking crease going through both of these books on both sides. So I guess I'll call it a win, but this really sort of derailed me about what I wanted to talk about in this video, which is newer acquisitions. Oh, hey, JTuck, I brought this as a visual guide. If you want to send a comic, these little Gemini mailers that are designed with multiple levels of like cardboard protection, right? They're inexpensive, including backing boards, at least in the comic book itself. That adds a layer of protection. This becomes increasingly harder to fold in half by the mailman. If you want to take another step and actually include some cardboard to surround the comic, which now makes this even harder to bend and crease, that's awesome. If you want to take this and the comic books with a bag and backing board behind them, possibly even in a Gemini mailer, and put it into something called a box. The goods you're selling are going to arrive to your customers in way better condition than this. I mean, wow. Like, wow. I don't know if you sell any expensive comic books, but I hope this will be a lesson to you because if I had spent more than, the $22 on the two comic books and the $10 shipping, just receiving like that, receiving it in that manner, I would totally be sending this stuff back to you and demanding my money and like 0 stars and screw you. You might not know but any better. Um, uh, in a nice way, once my temperature goes down a little bit, I will, do my best to like maybe send some pictures to her and instruct her on like, hey, don't do this. So, wow. New comic book acquisitions. I love monsters. I state that multiple times. Here's another one. Journey into Mystery 77. Now, I'm going to tell like, for newer collectors out there, it's like, dude, these are not they're not key issues, they're not grail comics. Um but the time frame on these, that Strange Tale 77, the graded one, it came out in 1960. This is pre-superhero, but it's got those artists that we know and love. It's got those fun Stan Lee stories. It's sometimes like even that predates it because Marvel acquired Atlas Comics. But just alone, it says Jack Kirby and Dick Ayers cover and art. Steve Ditko, Paul Reenman, and Don Heck art. We know those guys. We know Kirby. We know Ayers. We know Ditko. It's such a fun glimpse into the early history of Marvel Comics. And just comic books in general. Obviously there was comics in, the late 30s and the 40s and the 50s and stuff. But 1960, that 40, 50. This thing is like 60 years plus old. That's kind of fun. And a 5.0, that's pretty good condition. Now, obviously this one is, it's got scratches, it's got dings, I spent $26 on this and it's entirely readable. It's not falling apart. I I love this genre. I love, like I said, the history of comics. And this stuff is so fun. For $26, what else are you gonna do? Right? And you own it. And you can go back to it again and again and just appreciate that wonderful artwork and the craftsmanship that went into making this comic book in those bygone days. Here's another monster one. Strange Tales number 80. Gargantus. I gotta say, like Stan Lee, rest in peace, buddy. Love you. Love everything you did for comic books and everything that you have enriched my life with. But like some of the names of some of these monsters, it is kind of laughable now where, they're like, Gigantus, Gargantus, Gorgilla. Fin Fan Foom, like what were you guys what were you guys doing in the bullpen when someone's like, I know, Fin Fan Foom, but it's fun. And honestly, it's like I dig this cover. Like I like his arm coming out of the water and the diving bell and like falling out of the boat and stuff. Um Up from the slimy depths comes Gargantus, the thing that walks like a man. Like I can imagine, like I'd have to check the year on this, but like it's like the early '60s, and there I am at the soda shop, as a kid. This would grab my attention. I'd like, I maybe need to, pluck down my 10 cents and, read about Gargantus coming up from the slimy depths. Now, as much as I like monsters, I do love superheroes. And these are all some new acquisitions. I got this for $12. I mean, and it's really nice. It's not the first appearance of Claw. It's the second appearance and the first cover appearance. But the colors on this, I mean, it is just amazing. There's a little crease there through the black. A little bit of something up here. But, I mean, this thing looks almost brand new. And I'm sort of getting to the point where I suppose I own enough Grail comics. I've actually started selling some of them. Where the thrill of the acquisition, oh man, first appearance of Ghost Rider, first appearance of Vision, Avengers #1, brr. And then starting to look at purchasing comics where it's like, dude, every time I sit at the table, I don't want to be looking at hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And I understand why. And I'm not diminishing that those books are worth that. But I got this for $12, man. It's a 60s Fantastic Four comic book. Is this ever going to be a Grail? Probably not. I mean, even if they throw Claw into a movie, this is not his first appearance. But once again, for $12, it's a Silver Age Fantastic Four. I'd rather get some mileage out of not mega grails and not key issues and just get back to enjoying comic books for how I always have, to read them, and look at the artwork and not I'm creating some comic book museum, for you don't look at it, don't even breathe on it. I have always liked Spider-Man. I never really focused on collecting Spider-Man once again, other than key issues. Oh, it's the first appearance of Black Cat. It's the first appearance of Rhino. It's the first appearance of Morbius. It's the first. Like I said, I love. Sorry, my brain froze. I love the character. I've always loved Spider-Man, but I more associate him with a younger period of my life. And as my tastes matured or just changed, and I found, the X-Men or anti-heroes like Wolverine or the Punisher or whatever. Spider-Man was a lot more associated with my really, really young youth. So as a comic book collector, while I love Spider-Man, I appreciate him. I love that early Spider-Man artwork. I never really made it a focus of my collection. Now, because there are so many key issues that delve around Spider-Man, because there are so many key characters. I mean, if you just look at the first 12 issues of Spider-Man, it's first appearance of Vulture, first appearance of Dr. Octopus, first appearance of the Lizard, first appearance of Mysterio, whatever, third appearance of Doctor Doom, first appearance of, Electro. First, I mean, it is a roll call. I mean, it's just amazing. I do own Amazing Spider-Man #20. If you guys watch my videos, and why aren't you watching every single one of my videos? I did send off my Amazing Spider-Man #20 to get graded. It came back a 0.5, which, it really did kind of suck because it's a gorgeous copy. But what I did not realize is that the very last page of the book, which is a pinup, was missing. So I'm grateful for that knowledge that, because I would have hated if I had sold that book to somebody and I wouldn't have disclosed it because I wasn't aware of it. And And all of a sudden they're outraged, like, dude, you know, like I would have hated that. And it is such a gorgeous copy. So I'm still very, very proud to own it. I think the Scorpion might eventually show up. So I decided to pick up this Amazing Spider Man 29. Love this cover. I mean, the light blues with the way the red of the Amazing Spider Man logo pops, the corner box, the red pops, just him on the cover, that bright red against that light blues and darker blues, and even like the muted sort of green of the Scorpion. I mean, what a great cover. Uh, I didn't really jot down like prices that I paid for this stuff. I was going to do it. Like I said, I got sort of derailed by what I found in my mailbox. But I mean, this wasn't ghastly expensive. You know, I spent $60 on it. You know, it looks really nice. You know, yeah, there's a crease, but you know, it looks really nice. It's readable. It's very early Spider-Man. It's the second appearance of Scorpion. I'm really looking forward to flipping through that. A little bit later issue. Uh, Comic book experts out there, I know the first appearance of Kazar was Amazing Spider-Man 15. Uh, I'm not sure where this shows up in terms of the appearances of Kazar, but it is somewhat early. You know, I'll say like in the first five. Um, a lot of speculation about Kazar. I think he would be a really fun villain. Update him a little bit. Um, Modernize the character a little bit. I would not be surprised. Well, like Spider-Man is not going away. They're going to continue to make movies and TV shows and animated shows and video games about this character. He is never, if Spider-Man goes away, Western civilization is done. Um, so there, as a comic book collector, especially if it's you're looking into it for possible speculation in terms of like, you know, well, you know, can I make some money on this book, you know, somewhere down the road? I, like, it's hard to pick a number to be like, oh, any Spider-Man below issue 20. Well, any issue below Spider-Man number 50. Well, you know, there's so many keys, and it figures so prominently into the, you know, Marvel canon where, I mean, like Spider-Man was like a Marvel Superman or Batman, you know. I mean, he had such a broad appeal. It was such a brushstroke of genius to like, you know, hey man, here's this kid that the readers could, you know, relate to. And it's not just like he's having superhero problems, he's having real world problems. His Aunt May's sick. How do I come up with the rent? You know, I've got to sell some pictures to J. Jonas Jameson to keep my job, to, you know, and girlfriend issues and stuff. And that was something that had not really been seen before. Um, this is a new one. Amazing Spider-Man 43. I've commented on this before, maybe not on my videos as much, but like, you know, I've made comments on other people's channels that like something about the Spider-Man and those bright yellow backgrounds, you know, ASM 129, the you know, the death of Gwen Stacy, like with all this bold yellow background, and I guess that really pops again the red of the logo of Amazing Spider-Man. Um, I mean, just gorgeous. I believe I paid $80 for this. Very crisp edges. It looks really nice. You know, not a bidding war, but I was involved in like an eBay thing on one of these issues. and somebody bidding on the book just kept raising up, just kept raising up, and it got to like $150. And I was like, like clearly this dude like really wants it, man. And this is not the only copy in the world that exists of this. So I'm just going to let it go. And I let it go. And then I found this, and it was actually I think like a buy it now, 100 or something. And so I just reached out to the seller and I was like, hey man, like, would you take 80 plus shipping? And I'll pay for this like right now. And it was like pretty late. I mean, it was like 2 a.m. And I guess the time zone on the seller, like he responded, he was like, boom, sold. So as opposed to spending $150 plus shipping on this, I got it for 80, can't complain. Other superhero stuff. Everybody knows I love the Mighty Thor. Number 94. The tips and advice, new collectors. Considering the success of the Loki TV show. Now, clearly Loki figured prominently in some of the Thor movies and other movies. The success of the Loki TV show for a dude being a villain, I can't think of many Marvel villains that could really carry the attention of their own show, because usually villains are a foil for the heroes that we love. The fact that they delved into different aspects of Loki's character where, he's a bad guy, but is he evil? Is he self-centered? Yes. Self-absorbed? Yes. Grandiose? Yes. But is he evil? And I think by looking into different aspects of that, where if you go back to Norse mythology, Loki, god of mischief, yes. God of lies, yes. But, I mean, he helped out as much as he hurt. And I think it was very savvy for them to delve into that. So back to new collectors or speculation. The first appearance of Loki, I don't have that Journey into Mystery number right off the bat. I know I've got number 88, which I think is his second appearance. But any of these early appearances of Loki, I think it's a really good place to put some of your money for down the road, because Loki has been introduced into a much, much wider audience. And if they continue to handle the character properly, I think his popularity will continue to grow. And they're setting him up like, well, yeah, I mean, he could be a villain, or he could potentially, in some instances, be a good guy. Loki, Journey to Mystery 94. I'm rambling a bit. Now, me and my good buddy Chance did a video. And I once again, I was going to write this stuff down, but I got derailed. Where we did a spec book. And it was a book in his collection. This Fantastic Four number 11. Now, not only is it Fantastic Four number 11, which is awesome, but it's the first appearance of this little whimsical guy, the Impossible Man. And honestly, like, knowing that the FF are coming to Disney, to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I mean, how many like evil bad guys? I mean, there's enough. I mean, you got Doctor Doom, you got Galactus, you've got Annihilus, you've got, I mean, on and on and on. But the Impossible Man, I mean, he screams to me Disney, because he is not evil. He is just ultimately powerful, and he doesn't think things through. And he can turn into anything. He can turn parts of his body into anything. And so it's a very whimsical, laughable foil where even if he doesn't figure prominently against the FF or whatever, I mean, it would be so easy to throw him in a movie and where he's like, you know, I just turned myself into a green and purple teapot or and is a comedic foil, especially like if in the movie they're facing something awful and terrible. Um, a little lighthearted humor. I don't see why they would not use this character. Um, if you think marketing, you know, look at Groot. Groot's a monster from Planet X. He's a giant scary tree. But where they turn him into this like little doe-eyed plush toy, like, and they just like, how much merch do they sell? Here's this silly little green alien. He's not scary. He is funny. He is your buddy. He is the Impossible Man. The money that they could make just selling, you know, whatever, an Impossible Man mug, especially since he can change his shape. So it'd be like the Impossible Man has become a mug. So like his arm is the arm of the mug and his face is on the front and is green and purple. It's like, dude, they would make a mint. And if I'm smart enough to realize this, I know that somewhere at Disney, there's some executives or whoever makes decisions or whoever's like looking over the properties, like somebody's gonna go, oh, dude, we own the Impossible Man. This is an early Fantastic Four book. It is number 11. It did come out in 1963. The grade 3.5 is totally respectable. I mean, it's got one chip there, but there's no major creases. There's no major stuff missing out on it. I mean, it is a really nice copy. The color really pops. I want to say I bought this for 400. And I know 400 bucks is not cheap, especially on a comic book. But just being Fantastic Four number 11, it is going to continue to rise. It just is. Because as I said, they're made of paper, and because people don't package stuff right and shove shit in mailboxes, there's stuff that remain in high condition every single year. They throw Impossible Man. I mean, I don't think he's going to be in the first Fantastic Four movie. He might not be in the second or the third or the fourth. But eventually he's going to show up. And this is going to be an overlooked book because he's not this menacing villain. He doesn't look like really cool, you know. He's not badass like Doctor Doom. He's not as sleek as the Silver Surfer. And I think many people are going to miss the boat on this book. And then Impossible Man's going to hit. And, at that point, you're going to spend 3-4 times as much to acquire a copy of this book when you now want it because now it's a thing. So I would just urge you to look into it. Don't overspend. Don't buy the first one you see. Once again, I'd have to go back and look at the timestamp on the video that I made with Chance. But it's been a minute. I mean, it's been months and months. And even before we made the video, like I was like, dude, I want this book. I need to get this. And I was willing to spend the time. And I actually reached out to the seller and he shaved off $50, And I was like, once again, hey man, I can buy this now. Are you willing to go 400 plus the shipping? And he was like, yeah. So don't overspend. Don't jump on the first one you see, but maybe look at it. I mean, even just get like a raw copy, Obviously those can sell for considerably less than a graded book, and look at the condition. Take a chance on the Impossible Man. Now, lastly, God, I don't even know the time on this video. That's long. I said I love monsters. And I do. I referenced that I sold some comics. I did like the first appearance of Ghost Rider or the first appearance of Vision. Avengers number 1. I made a lot of money. It would be gross for me to, you know, flaunt that here, but I did very well. One of the comics that I love are EC comics. These are from the 50s. They're collectible in regards to the fact that they're really old. And you guys will notice I had one of these that I sent off to be graded and came back a 4.0. It is a book that I sold. I think that this is a higher grade. So, for what I spent on this, I will be definitely sending this off to be graded. I mean, it's not going to come back at 7 or anything, but my other one was a 4. I think 555. And where you're talking a book from the 50s, there's less and less and less that remain in high condition. I just love it. Flying Saucer Report. Documented evidence, names, places, dates, quotes. EC challenges the U.S. Air Force. Like I'm sure the Air Force was like shaking. Like, oh no, EC Comics is challenging us. Yeah, but anyway, I love this. I love this cover. I sold it and I immediately regretted it just because I love it, So I was like, nah, getting him. I am super excited about these two. Weird Science Fantasy number 27. This looks really, really good. Like really good. Not an 8.0 good, but really good. The edges on this, I was actually this one and the next one I'm going to show you. They're so crisp that I was afraid maybe the books had been trimmed, because I was like, dude, I see Marvel chipping on books from, the late 60s. This is from like 1953. Like how is this here, I'll show you. Like how is this edge so very clean? Is a section of it being white in the background, like it's not grossly dirty. There's just a little pull at the staple there, like there, a little bit down there, but I'm like, dude, this looks amazing. It seems that the grading companies are a little bit laxer when it comes to the Golden Age books. So honestly, if this came back a 6 or a 6.5, I wouldn't say they overgraded it. But also, like, if it comes back a 4 or 4.5, I'm equally happy with that. But I am definitely getting this graded because this deserves to be preserved for years and years and years. And so I am going to do this. The last one I got, and I cannot tell you how many years I have looked at and wanted this book. Just the violence of the cover, the age that this came out. And this is interesting. There's tape. Now, the staples are as tight as you could hope for. So somebody put as a preventative measure that tape along the spine, even though it wasn't necessary. Now, in Golden Age books, they do not count tape as restoration. And like I said, I mean, it's not restoring shit. The spine didn't need it. The staples didn't need it. Obviously, the tape is so old that it does discolor that a little bit, which is, a little bit unfortunate. But look at the edge of this book. Look at that. Oh, out of focus. Look at that edge. And it's true on the bottom. I mean, like I said, that's why I was like, was this trimmed? But from holding it up to other EC comics and stuff like that, it does not appear to be. Uh, there's a lot of glare on the bag. I mean, that's anybody who does comic book videos, like, we're aware of this. You know, I am not a professional grader. I am not qualified to grade books. If this came back a 5, I would not be shocked. If it came back a 4, I wouldn't be shocked. If it came back a 5, or who knows? But I have wanted this book for so long. And so when I sold some comic books, I was like, you know what? I think there's some wisdom, and I've watched other channels that are referencing it, that there's a whole lot of golden age goodness out there that at this point is not at the forefront, because everybody's like, oh, superheroes and superheroes and superheroes and superheroes. And, first appearances of superheroes, blah, blah, blah. But like I said, like, this is a niche for collectors. There's far less that exist, and far less that exist in good condition. And I think if you're willing to put a little bit of effort into searching and finding books that you can afford, I think these will explode. I mean, it might be 30 years from now, but you're talking, this book right now is 70 years old, right? So, like, once it's 100 years old, I know people will always love superheroes, and I love superheroes, but I think that these kinds of comics, especially if you spend the money to have them graded and encapsulated, there might be a whole lot of windfall to be had, because you were one of the few people that purchased, collected, had pressed and dry cleaned and graded one of these books. So that's my new acquisitions. I know this has been a very, very long video. So if you've stuck with it, awesome. If you just sort of like flipped around, I understand. If you just like scrolled through to like see what comic books I was showing, I understand. I'm trying to give the best content that I can. I haven't done a video in a while, and I love doing videos, and so I was really happy to have a good batch of comic books to show you guys. And once again, like, some of these you don't see on everybody's channel. And like, yeah, dude, I love Hulk 181, or whatever. ASM 129, like, yeah, man, but like, it gets a little bit tedious seeing them on everybody's channel. And so where I can show you some books that you don't see on everybody's channel, that you haven't seen 100 times, or that maybe nobody's talking about. I mean, you might be like, what? Impossible, man? What? It pleases me that I do have a wide collection, and that I collect, not just along the regular pathways of most people. So hopefully you've seen some stuff here that you might think about looking into or adding to your collection, while they're not ghastly expensive. And none of these, the Fantastic Four 11, that was the most. And like I said, I mean, that was like $400. That was the most. And all these other books, like 80% of them, like, well below $100. It's not breaking the bank, but each and every one of them are awesome to own. So I'm going to sign off here. Everybody, thank you for watching my channel. My subscribers, dude, love you. Shout out, leave a comment. I want to hear from you. If you like what I'm doing, if you think what I'm doing sucks, let me know. As always, enjoy comics. Enjoy comic book collecting. Thank you so much for watching. This is Daniel at the Krakens Lair Comics. Have a good one.